All right, welcome. Today, we're diving into a process that, I've got to be honest, demands some real courage. It asks a pretty fundamental question about the very person we spend our whole lives building, protecting, and, well, trying to fix. It asks us to just consider letting that person go. So, let's get right into it. So let's just start with this one, core question. What if the person you're constantly working on, the one you polish up for the world, the one you defend, what if that person doesn't actually exist? This question, right here, is our way in. It's the key to everything we're about to unpack.
You see, to really get a handle on this, we have to understand that our core problem isn't some simple character flaw that just needs a patch. No, it's way deeper. It's a fundamental misperception of reality itself. And we're going to explore this through a really powerful metaphor, the uniform, which is this heavy, heavy armor we all wear. This framework we're exploring calls our basic state an inversion of reality. And the idea, which draws from the Genesis account, is that our whole perception of who we are has been flipped upside down. Instead of seeing our identity through our relationship with our Creator, we now define ourselves by what we lack, by our screw-ups, and by this deep, nagging sense of shame.
And so, to survive in this inverted reality, we build something this framework calls the uniform. And look, it's not just a mask. It is a full suit of psychological and spiritual armor. And its job, its whole purpose, is to protect our fragile pride and to cover up that gaping internal void we feel from being cut off from the truth. So what's this uniform actually made of? Well, it's our job titles, our degrees, the stuff we own. It's even our perceived virtues, being the good mom or the reliable friend. It's that voice of command we put on to sound like we're in charge, and it's the intellectual expertise we use to prove we're smart enough. Man, when you start listing it all out like this, you really start to feel just how heavy this armor is. So, okay, if the problem is this heavy, suffocating uniform, then the solution isn't to polish it or add more shiny metals. No, the solution is radical. It's a process called Kenosis, which means a great emptying. The goal here is to take the uniform off. Completely. And this isn't some new age self-help trend. This is a core Christian doctrine, and it's grounded right here in Scripture. The ultimate model for this is Christ himself, who, even though he was God, emptied himself. He set aside all of his divine privilege to embrace total vulnerability. This is our roadmap. So how in the world do we actually practice this? Well, the framework gives us a very practical, though I'll admit, very difficult exercise called the so what drill. Step 1, you have to name the specific fear that keeps your uniform glued on. For example, people will think I'm a failure. Okay, now step 2, you apply the kenosis response. Let them. The power in this is the release. Just allowing the world to think whatever it's going to think frees you from the exhausting job of defending an image that isn't even real. Now, the very moment you decide to take that uniform off, your ego is going to freak out. It will scream for a new plan, a quick fix, anything to escape being so vulnerable. And this is where we have to learn the critical practice of hupomone, which is really about the necessity of endurance. Hupomone, it's a Greek term, and it literally means to remain under. It's the spiritual muscle needed to just stay with the discomfort of the truth of your own spiritual poverty and your own need, without trying to run away or slap on a new, better-looking uniform. It's the exact opposite of what our impatient ego wants. This period of quiet endurance, it can feel absolutely terrifying, like you're falling behind or being left out. But it is so essential to reframe it. See it as strategic latency. This is not wasted time. This is the necessary quiet space where the soul, finally free of its armor, can actually begin to heal from the inside out. And this is what brings us from all the theory to the actual practice. It's time for what's called the honest audit, a direct, unflinching, no-holds-barred look in the mirror. The whole audit, the whole thing begins with this one question, and I want you to really sit with it. What version of myself am I protecting right now? The successful one, the perfect parent, the one who has all the answers? You've got to name it. As you do this audit, be on the lookout for these 4 key distortions. These are the ways our internal story twists the truth. There's resentment, which anchors us to the past. Grandiosity, that inflated sense of self that's like a balloon. Self-pity, which we wrap around ourselves like a shroud to hide from responsibility. And the physical lie, the belief that our physical body is somehow a mistake.
These are the architects of all our own internal noise. So why? Why is this whole process of stripping away the false self and enduring the silence so critical? It's because all of it's all preparation. It's what makes you ready for the real work, for the real battle that's ahead. Just consider this contrast for a moment. Without kenosis, something like confession can feel like you're just filling out an administrative report on your failures. But with kenosis, after the uniform is finally off, confession becomes what this framework calls a transformative system flush, a total top-to-bottom reset for the soul. And this is the end goal. This whole process of kenosis prepares you for what's called a dual resolution. It makes you ready not just for the vertical resolution with God, that's the absolution you see at the top, but also for the horizontal resolution you need to repair the damage you've caused in your community. It's about becoming whole again, both upwardly and outwardly. So really, it all comes down to this. The uniform has to come off. The posturing, the titles, the so-called expertise, all of it has to go. Because the real battle for your soul, the one that actually leads to true peace, it only begins when you finally have nothing left to defend.